everyone. This is Pam Torrey from Ingage, and you're listening to the Ingaged podcast. We know tech is changing the way people market and sell now more than ever. And on this show, I sit down with sales and marketing thought leaders and experts to learn how you can create, share, and measure your way to success. Today, we're chatting with Kyle Terrell, the replacement sales manager at Pella, Dallas, Fort Worth in Texas, to learn how he transformed his sales team with the power of tech. Kyle, I'm so happy to have you here with us today.
Hey Pam, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys calling me and letting me come on.
Well, we're excited because not only are you a great Ingage user, you are one of our favorite Ingage users. Don't tell anybody else I said that. But you are also kind of an evangelist, if you will, for tech in the home improvement space. So I'm really excited to be able to dig in with you and get your insight on just what's going on in the industry. So to kick us off, can you give listeners a snapshot of your background and what exactly you do at Pella, Dallas, Fort Worth?
Sure, absolutely. So Pam, before I got in with Pella, I was not in the home improvement industry. So I had worked in mostly commercial sales for the last couple of years before coming on the Pella about 5 years ago. And basically, I was just knocking on businesses' doors. So I was trying to get in touch with the right decision makers. I was going past gatekeepers. And that, for me, I didn't quite enjoy it as much as, working with just business to consumer. Because prior to that, I was a personal trainer for 10 years. So I actually ran personal training departments, taught other personal trainers how to sell personal training, which is actually really similar to what we do in home improvement. But now, since coming on 5 years ago, as of last spring, I entered the sales management role at Pella down here in Dallas, Fort Worth. And now I lead our replacement team.
That's great. I love talking to people who have unorthodox backgrounds and have ended up in this industry. I've said this before with other guests, but I feel like home improvement just kind of takes everybody and is like, what skill do you have? What skill do you have that we can use to grow this business, and just assimilates your skill into the business? It's great. I love seeing it.
Mm-hmm. Our HR department is always asking, so what's the personality that we need to find? And I'm like, there's not one, and so you just can't copy somebody. We have everybody from, ex-police officers to people that worked in the financial world. I mean, it's all over the map.
Everybody in between.
And it's wild.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
so you've
It
really
finds you.
Yeah. You've really been on this journey over the last year of transforming your team with technology and building out your tech stack. I'm really curious, as someone who comes from this other world. You were in kind of your corporate sales, you've done all these other jobs. How did you determine what tools and what solutions to bring to your team? And what did you end up adding to your tech stack?
Sure. So I find when you start entering, modernizing anything in your organization, there's always more that comes with that, whether it be Ingage or a new CRM or something. Like I feel like companies, when they're seeking one thing, everything kind of comes with it. And so that was kind of the same with us. We were actually really quick to move with Ingage, but as you know, in the corporate world, you just have to, things just kind of roll out one at a time. And so all at once could mean a year, right? All at once could mean 2 years. But there is quite a story here as far as how this all kind of came to be. And so I'm going to share that with you. So as a rep, I was always looking for like new ways to innovate and just kind of go to the next level as far as performance goes. And I was a pretty high performer right out of the gate. But what I found was that most companies only have two types of sales processes. There's either one, like a really rigid, like follow this exact script verbatim. You have to do that, and it's kind of just, it takes all the personality out of it. And then you kind of go to the other side with the pendulum, and it's like, well, here's just some bullet points, and just go follow these things, and we'll throw you to the wolves, and you'll just figure it out. There was really no, in my opinion, really good training out there that I could find. And so, being the trainer I am, just being in sales, I didn't see that trajectory for growth, in either of those scenarios. So I rewrote our whole sales process. So I took it down It was very
Just a
scripty.
small thing. Just a small
Just a
thing, you know.
just a small thing. It only took me a year. It was fine. No, but it didn't. So, I what I found was a really like a true presentation, a good demo, a good presentation, takes place when the sales consultant's personality lines up with the organization's sales process. And so you have to kind of have buy-in from your rep, from your sales rep to say, yes, I do believe in this product, but they also have to believe in themselves when they're doing it. And so you have to allow them the freedom to do that. So I took a very rigid sales process that was scripted out, and I literally drew a line down the middle of the page, and I'm like, I'm going to write how I would say it and what feels comfortable to me. And so we actually teach our reps that now. So as we do role plays, it is now, okay, how would you say it? Rather than, that didn't sound right to me. And so we allow freedom there. But long story short, I turned my focus to modernizing the sales process for 2023, essentially, right? So went all in and did that. That was step one. Step two was I dug down deep to my inner nerd, and I was like, okay, I need a presentation software now. I need some visuals for customers, and I would start asking customers, why they bought from me. And then I would also ask, so like, what else have you seen out there? And just kind of pick their brain on that. So I found Ingage. Don't even remember how I found it, but I called and I contacted Charlie Goldberg,
Charlie, our main
and
man.
oh my gosh, he probably thought I was nuts. He probably still does think I'm nuts, even though I talk to him quite a bit still. But I told him, I was like, hey, Charlie, so this is who I am. This is what I do. I promise you, I can get I can get you guys some more business at Engage. Just let me use your platform for free for a while.
Uh-huh.
And that while
He probably
turned
thought you
into,
were nuts.
oh my gosh, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But that while of time turned into like 8 months. So Charlie was like, so you got anything for me yet? I'm like, I promise I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have it. And so, but what I had to do, and the reason it took so long is because I had to, build the sales process behind the scenes. I only told like 4 people in leadership in my organization that I was doing this, and they were kind of like skeptical on it. So did that, and I had to prove that it was working, which was the problem. So I was already doing okay, but my close rate, once I started using Engage and once I kind of, revamped the sales process, my close rate just skyrocketed. And basically I started to go on pace for a $3 million a year. And so, yeah, I was like 3.2 or 3.4 is what I was pacing. And that was like unheard of. And there was another guy in my organization doing that too, but there just weren't very many of us. And just to put it in perspective, a $2 million rep is like, whoa, here. So to jump that, they were like, what in the world is Kyle doing? And so today, fast forward, I get promoted, I become our training manager, and I start training this new system, Ingage. And now today, every single rep has it. They use it all the time. And we actually now use it for our new hire training and continual training as well.
I love that you not only looked at it from like, oh, we want technology, but it was like asking the homeowner what connects with them and like, why are they making the decision they're making? What are they seeing out there? What differentiates folks from the competition? Because we know that leads are getting more and more expensive. There's more competition. Like that homeowner perspective is really valid. And I don't think enough people ask for it when they're thinking about changing their tech stack.
No, not at all. Yeah, they definitely don't. I mean, that's pretty black and white. I think they just don't.
Yeah, customer experience is paramount. So you talked a little bit about how you've been rolling this out to your team, how you've been really transforming the entire sales process. Now we know that change management can be a huge challenge when you're implementing new technology, new processes. There's always that rep who's like, I've been here forever. I know what I'm doing. I don't need your new system. I don't need your new technology. How do you, as a sales manager, get your sales team on board with changes and ensure that they start complying with the new process, the new technology, and get their buy-in on the new process? How do you do that?
It is difficult to get any reps, especially what we call veteran reps, so people that have been doing this a long time, open to change. But one thing I think to understand too, and just have your team understand, is that change is necessary and it's not a bad thing. It's really not. I think people think of change and it's maybe like even the wrong word for it, right? But if you want your company to grow, and hopefully your reps want your company to grow too, there needs to be change, or like or evolutions of ideas that like me doing the story and telling you about the story, and that was just an evolution that created change later on. And so you just have to have that. So in my opinion, the worst thing that you can say about your company is we've always done it this way.
Oh, yeah.
um,
It's a dirty word
because
over
it's
here.
like, yeah, that's how okay, we're really stagnant here. So whenever I hear that, I'm like, and so we actually have something at, you know, Pella Dallas, where if we hear anybody say that, you just kind of give them the nod now, and they're like, dang it, you caught me. So because we're really trying just to like move forward. So, but implementing Engage, for example, was very easy. The first day we rolled it out, we had two reps sell deals off of it, and they had never used it before. So
We love to
I
hear it.
think I know it was amazing, and they weren't even in the class in the training room that day when we rolled it out. So we just like gave everybody access, and they had to take their kids to school or something happened there, and they went to the appointments that afternoon, and they're like, hey, what's this new tool? And there's a little bit of buzz, and they used what it was at the time, and sold some deals. So it was really neat.
So you have been on this transformation journey for the last year. You've implemented a lot of new process, a lot of new strategy, a lot of new technology. I'm really curious, what are a couple of key lessons that you've learned along the way that you would share with someone who's about to begin this journey, either a sales manager or an owner, a business leader?
Sure. So I think just taking it more broad, I would say. It's not always just about the technology. It's about just being open minded for the most part too. But the first thing I would say is, and this is coming from one of my mentors who happens to be my father-in-law. His name's Tom Heslin. But he's always told me these three. It's the three L's: listen, learn, and lead. And so basically, it's listening to those around you by being quiet, right? And then you learn from them by asking questions. And then you lead others in the same direction to do that same thing. So listen, learn, lead is like a huge one. My other one is from my dad, and one of the greatest salespeople I've ever met. And he's always challenged me with this simple question of, "Are you helping someone?" I'm going, dang it. And so he kind of catches me off guard. And so I know those are really broad statements, but for me, and everyone kind of has their own phrases and things that they come back to based on their own life experience. But to me, I apply that to everything, right? So you just apply, whatever principles you live by, whatever you have, that's what you always go back to. And so I tell my team all the time, especially just as like a salesperson, because people get in slumps, and then they get out of them, and it's this whole like thing. And so something I always tell my team is, some of the best salespeople I've ever met are also some of the best people I've ever met. And if you can listen to your customers, learn from your customers, lead your customers to a decision, then you are helping them. And so it kind of just all like encompasses there. Beyond that, just especially as like a company leader or a company owner, know who you are, and what you stand for, and then you live out those principles. So what you can do is just you can evaluate that on paper even, right? If you write down the five things, your five life lessons, right? And being open minded on top of that. I think it just all starts with the person to just say, you know what, let's pursue that, or let's at least give that a shot. Open mindedness has got to be there.
Yeah, I think especially with technology transformation and with trying to bring change in, like you have to listen to your team. You have to listen to what they're saying. You have to listen to how things are impacting them. And if you're set in your ways, if you're super close-minded about it, if you're not accepting feedback, if you're not looking at your process from an open-minded perspective, you're never going to make change. You're going to be that person who says, "It's always been this way," and then walk away and get that
Yes.
nod.
Well, and if you do have, let's say let's say your leadership is that way, and you just have to be what we call a leaky faucet. And and I got that from my boss, and he's like, you just got to be a leaky faucet. And that's what I was. That's what I was with a lot of things, with the sales script, with Engage, with a few other things. I was just always talking about it. And so it kind of came to a point where they didn't have a choice, because it was working and I was able to prove it. And I think, like, if you are not a leader in your organization, you can still, by title, right? You can still have leadership qualities, and then you can create new things in your organization and kind of just lead them in that direction. And so that's, even if you're not a leader, you can still do those things.
So I would love to hear a specific example about how this change in your organization via Engage or your tech stack has helped you to achieve significant results. You talked about how you had a couple of reps who just like took Engage out in the field and closed deals, but how have you really seen it achieve results within your team?
Sure. So, kind of like I mentioned earlier, normally when you implement something new technology wise, it's not just one thing. It's like multiple things. And so that's what happened with us. And I'd like to say that we are 100%, but we are not. I don't think any organization knows, for sure that they're 100%. And if they're saying that, again, be open minded, right? So, what I can say is that Engage has significantly improved our first call close. First call close is big in this industry, but just overall gross close rate in general. Um, and it's been a huge game changer for the onboarding process. It's let us take, the police officer, the guy who used to work for a financial institution, whoever, and out of the gate, we have about a 6-week training program. We're able to turn somebody off the street into like a 3 to 5 year veteran immediately out into the field. So the questions is, how I build this, how do I do this, how do I know the limitations on this? And with Pella, we have like 7 different product lines. So for that, plus doors, right? So there's a lot more even there. And so we could be talking about 12 different things, rather than just like one window, right? Which is what, the advantage that we have, right? So shout out to Pella. But we also, implemented a new CRM as well. And so kind of doing those two things, which needed a giant overhaul, we were able to jump our close rate about 10% since implementing those, which is massive. And keep in mind too, we've grown as an organization since then. So we have about 22 reps. So to have that all jump up 10% as a team with brand new people has been incredible.
That is incredible. Well, I would like to wrap up our conversation with a question that I ask everybody who comes on this podcast. I'm like the troll under the bridge. You come on my podcast, you have to answer my question. What is a trend that you think sales leaders should be focusing on right now? We're at the end of the year. We're wrapping up 2023. We're getting ready for 2024. Where do you think their heads should be? What trend should they be focused on?
Keeping up to date with technology for sure is number one. I mean, you have to, the new, the buyers nowadays, want more visuals. They want to, people want to buy. They don't want to be sold to, right? So give them something to buy, right? Give them something that they're attracted to. As a leader, I would say hire people that know more than you do, because you can, again, learn from them. See, there's trends with how I think about things, but again, you can learn from them. A great example of this right now is Chat GPT. which is really controversial, right? Like for some reason, but in our organization or our industry, I should say, it's really not. Advertising is coming from it. It's one of the new trending topics. So simply keep an open mind to new tools. Um, Number two, I think is really important is hold your sales team accountable. So especially, I mean, you have to, especially in regard to sales volume. That's really important. We hold our sales team accountable to certain metrics too, like such as gross close and, other metrics. Um, Growth would be number three. So growth, if your trajectory or goal isn't growth, a competitor is going to fill that space every single time. So if you're not growing, you're just going the other direction. There's no stagnant. I mean, it is up and down in this industry. Like, if you're okay being a $5 million business, that's great. But in the next couple of years, you're going to be a $3 million business because somebody else is going to come in and fill those gaps. And so you have to be really careful. I've always said like obscurity is every company's kryptonite. So, you have to, I mean, you can't be obscure. You have to continue to push forward, or at least, yeah. So, and then push your sales team to do new things. Being with growth, having your reps generate new leads or like their own leads, like self-generated leads. That's a huge miss in our industry. When I was a rep, because I had been in the sales role of go farm and find my own leads, I was like, wow, this is amazing. You guys get free leads here. That's incredible. And that's how our industry works, right? We wake up in the morning, we see where we're going. For me, that wasn't good enough. I had to go find my own thing. So, join your community, right? Join your chamber of commerces or your, any kind of networking group. Go connect with your community and then work outwards. That's how a sales, account executive thinks, as far as commercial sales. I have a couple more, sorry. But so the other one would be invest. So invest in your company culture and in your reps. Like we do contests every quarter. So last quarter, we held a contest of who can finance the most jobs. And it was the top 5 reps that won. And so we took them to a Rangers game, got them a suite.
Well, that
treated
sounds
them
like
to a night.
fun.
Yeah, it was awesome. And the sales managers get to go. So I had a great time. And then everyone brought their spouses. So like we got, you kind of get to know your people and, not just hear about them. So, invest in your people and your culture and start creating that, that culture that people notice. So they want to join your organization. And then, the last I would say is just don't be every other company, do something different.
Yeah, that differentiator makes you stand out from everybody else so that you're not stagnant. We want you to grow.
Yes, exactly.
Well, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us today. I definitely learned a lot, and I'm always surprised by people who come into this industry from different backgrounds and just like the cool perspectives that they bring to things. So I really got to appreciate getting to hear a little bit about your perspective on sales management and growth.
Awesome. Thank you, Pam. It was great to see you again.
Thanks for listening to the Ingaged podcast. Be sure to visit ingage.io for more information on how to create, share, and measure your way to success. If you like the Ingaged podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on Spotify or Amazon Music. Until next time.